What up? What up? What up? This is Mike the Philosopher here with another one. This one is another one, y'all. This is a different one. This is baby courts, okay? Paternity stuff, okay? I have not seen this before. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I thought I'd bring it to y'all. Let's go in.
What brings you here in my courtroom today?
Your Honor, I have spent so many years wondering who the dad is, and I'm sure I know who the dad is because he's standing right there, and I just recently tracked him down. I have a son from many years ago, and I've been trying to find his father, and I finally tracked him down, and he is here today.
How did you and Mr. Donovan meet?
Well, it was at my school many years ago, and he was playing, he was the star football player, and I was very attracted to him, and we kind of talked after the game, and things got a little out of hand, and I set my popcorn down, and he offered me his popcorn, and we started, going to a little bit of lengths about, our lives, and, we were very young, and it was kind of playful, and I was very attracted to him, and
Yeah, because he was the star football player on the team, so bruh got him a groupie. You got to be careful of that, man. These groupies can get you trapped up and caught up. She says she finally tracked him down. This should be interesting. I'm not going to hold you, though, but that little boy picture did look like it could be his. It does look like his baby, his son, but that's not enough information. I need to see both of the pictures of the males again, but her son is 18 years old now. Wow. Okay. Anyway, let's go back in.
I felt like I'd known him all my life. It was really weird. And, I just felt this great attraction. And then, we kind of had a little booze, and we started drinking a little bit, and, one thing led to another. And one thing led to another, let's just say that. And now, here we are years later, and I have his son.
All right, Mr. Donovan, I'm going to come over to you now. How did you guys meet?
Your Honor, her story is pretty much accurate. I was a high school football player. We met at a game. One thing led to another, and we got together. Now, back then, I wasn't promised to one female per se. I dated a lot of girls off and on while I was in high school. But the one thing I can agree with her story is that this young man is my child.
Well, not only was he a football player, I don't know if he's a football player now, but my son is a football player. And he looks very much like him. He puts his football uniform on, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's him. I know it's him. This is the father of my son.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Everyone looks the same in a football uniform, and honestly, he couldn't be as good as I was back in my day. So
how would you know? Were you ever coaching at his games? Were you ever showing many things? No, because you disappeared, running all over the world as this big star football player.
Yeah, he did. You was a groupie. Why do women expect men to stick around if you were a groupie? He knew you were a groupie. It wasn't like you was in love with him. It ain't even like you laid down with him because he was a good guy. You just gave it to him because he was the popular dude. So, you just up and disappeared? Well, really? He said he had plenty of chicks back then. Plenty of chicks. There might be some more chicks with the same claim. I just find it weird that women expect all men to stick around with them, but a lot of times they don't stick around with all men. Okay, they'll let men go like that, like it's nothing. But when a man does that, it's a big problem, especially when a baby is involved. Like, men are supposed to know when you're pregnant. Okay, he was running through chicks. How was he supposed to know you were pregnant? Okay, a lot of women don't know that they're pregnant until months later. You know, so yeah. What, you remember that chick you was with like 4 months ago? At that game. Yeah. What? Yeah, she's pregnant. You should have stuck around. What? I don't. You know how many chicks I ran through since then? In 4 months. You expect me to stick around for a mystery chick? That's probably what he was thinking. He's thinking if someone actually told him. Like, I don't even know if they exchange numbers, exchange names, or last names. I don't even know if they exchange. Like, the only thing they exchange is DNA a little bit. But this is what you get when you're a groupie chick and you let the popular dude smash. You're going to give it up to him. Well, there's a lot of people. Look, a lot of times it's about getting a trap baby. I ain't going to hold you. A lot of times it's about getting a trap baby. Meaning, oh, he's the popular guy. He's going to get drafted. He's going to be in the NFL. Let me get his baby. Give him some and give him his baby so I can get that NFL money. Okay, he was a guy. He was on the rise. He was on his way. So, you know, people just like to latch on to rising stars so they can go higher with them. You know what I mean? So, let's see how it go.
Have you paid any attention to this boy who looks exactly like you? who's
Your Honor,
going to
I'm
be a
sorry.
great
I didn't
football
even know the guy.
player?
I didn't even know the kid existed.
Okay, I need orders
Sure.
getting out of hand.
Okay.
What was this relationship like?
Well, actually, he just, after that night, I called him many times and he started ignoring my calls. And one thing led to another, and just pretty soon he was like, he changed his number and I couldn't reach him.
Your Honor, I had all kind of girls calling my house. My mom got fed up to a point. She didn't want all these strange women calling. You know, they all, you know, once you become a football star, you know, everyone sees the bright lights and the money and the potential, and you know, I wasn't falling for that. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, what would you say this relationship was like, or was it a relationship?
Listen, we had fun when we were together, but then after that, I moved on with my life, and honestly, I didn't hear nothing from her from years and years,
Yeah,
and I didn't know
well,
anything.
good for you. Well, that's kind of hard to do when somebody changes your number.
See, this is exactly why we didn't have a relationship, because she does all the talking,
Yeah,
all the
because
talking.
He changed his number.
She
or
just
his
won't stop
mother.
running her soup
Blame
coolers.
it on
Just
the mother.
on and on and on.
Just
Okay.
blame it on the mom.
Okay. Before this got out of hand. Whew. I mean, how does this alleged father, how did this paternity even come about?
Well, after my baby Charlie was born, I had another man come into my life, and he kind of raised him as his own son. But we parted about, many years ago, and I just started wondering, let me try to really track the real father down. It's always been in my mind, every football game I go to, I think of this man, and I just, want to put it all out on the table. It's
Your
like,
Honor, she
here we are.
says track me down. It was more like stalking. Here I moved on and had a life, and next thing I know, I got private investigators contacting me, and I was like,
Yeah, I'm a stalker with private investigators. Yeah, wouldn't you want to know who your son's father was?
but he is not my. I've seen the picture. I'm sorry, Your Honor. If that's my child, I'm Tom Cruise. Okay, that boy.
Nah, bruh, he looked just like you. I ain't gonna hold you. Look, I'm a keep it a buck, okay? That little boy looked just like you. Looked like he spit him out. I'm not saying it's his. I haven't seen this before. But I just put it like this. I see a resemblance. Yeah, he could easily be yours. So you ain't Tom Cruise. Okay, that's where I'm coming from. Let's go in.
That boy don't look nothing like
Well,
me.
Tom Cruise wasn't available, so I met you that night instead of him on the football field, okay?
Oh, okay. All right. Mr. Donovan, how do you feel about the paternity? I mean, what are you thinking? Is it any doubt?
Your Honor, honestly, I have a lot of doubt. I mean, she said herself she had met another man. You know, he became part of the child's life, and then he disappeared. I mean, who's to say that I'm the father?
Because he was white, and my child is, you know.
I'm sure I wasn't the only brother. I'm sure I wasn't the only brother she dated, Your Honor. I'm just putting it out there.
I have only been with one good-looking black man that played football and that looks like my son, and he's standing right here. And that's why I'm here today. I am tired of wondering every time I look in my son's face. It's like, you know, how do I?
You notice he said, I'm sure I'm not the only black man she's been with. She said, I have only been with one good-looking black man who plays football. You know how specific that is? That's not saying he's the only brother you've been with. Okay? That's not saying that. You specified it so much to the point where it could only be him. But that don't mean he's the only brother. I mean, I don't know. Some people might have missed that, but let's hear some more.
I tell him, it's like, Mom, Joe doesn't look like me. He's not my father. And I go, I know, honey, but we're trying to find your father, and well, I am positive I found him. And you can say whatever you want about, oh, I hired private investigators. Well, wouldn't you, to know who your son's real father is, so they can have a relationship? He's the one that's losing out.
Your Honor, I'm just going to put it out there. She just hasn't gotten over all this chocolate deliciousness. That's why we in here. So now she can't find the next man, and now she just wants to just handcuff me down, and now she wants me to be a part of a child's life that isn't mine. I'm sorry, I'm just not buying it, and I'm sorry.
That shit was hilarious. I ain't gonna hold you. It's probably something I would have said. Probably something I would have said too. Like, look, she missed the chocolate deliciousness, Your Honor. You know, I mean, I can't blame her. But I'm not the father. Like, come on. Like, I get it. She's stalking me. She got PIs and stuff all up in me. She just wants some more. That's all it is. Your Honor. I don't blame her. She's not the only one. There are others out there too. A lot of them miss this chocolatey deliciousness. It just is what it is. But it's not my baby. The kid is not my son. Hee hee. And moonwalk on out of the courtroom. It's probably what I would have done. But let's see how this ends.
All right, but like they say, once you go black, you never go back.
Well, I am going back because I want to prove today that man is my son's father, once and for all.
All right. Okay, I gotta get this. So how does the child feel about this situation?
He is wondering. I just let him know every day how much I love him, and that, as he's gotten older, he started asking more and more questions, and I said, honey, I will do the right thing and try to find your real father. I know who he is. I just have to do a little more research and find him.
So, Mr. Donovan, what was your initial reaction when she alleged you was the father?
You know what, Your Honor, I was shocked and I was a little upset. Years have gone by. I've moved on, lived my life, and now all of a sudden she's trying to, dump a child in my lap, and I'm sure he's a good kid, nothing against him, but I just do not believe he's my child.
Okay.
Well, then that's why we're here today, right?
Yes, absolutely.
You guys are here today. So you haven't spent no time, you haven't been involved, you have not even really met this kid, have you?
No, Your Honor, I have not.
All right, Mr. Donovan, is there anything that you worried about losing?
Yes, Your Honor. Since my high school football days, I've become a successful sportscaster. I do a lot of traveling, both nationwide and internationally. I do have a family of my own. I already have a child, so now to have this come up, I mean, it's real upsetting, particularly to my wife, and it's like, I just can't. There's just no way that he is my son. I'm sorry.
Well, he's just saying that because he has 8 kids. He doesn't want number 9, and I'm sure his wife plays a part in this, but he needs to do what's right. And the way I see it, I would really like there to be a relationship, especially since my son is so interested in football and he travels around with sportscasting, that they can have a bond. I mean, that's why I'm here, because they're both in the same kind of industry. And I want to do what's best for my boy.
Just real quick, Your Honor, I said a kid, not 8 kids. Just, I don't want you to think
8.
I'm out there making babies. So, no, I got 1 child. And that's all I have is 1 child.
You might be having 2, so we'll be figuring that out later on.
Okay.
So is there any specific incidents that made is there anything that made you have doubt about this child being yours?
You know what? When she finally made contact with me, I mean, she showed me a picture of the child, and I just don't see it. I'm sorry, I don't see any resemblance. I don't see any of my features, and and like I said, I already have a child. I got a good looking child, and I'm sorry, nothing to say about your child, but he looks nothing like my lineage. So
what about?
Oh my goodness. Short story, y'all, about me. I have a daughter who I was in the same boat as him, was dealing with a chick for a while, and we lost contact. Well, she got back in contact with me and revealed that I had a daughter. It was a girl on my end. And I looked at the picture and I was like, nice looking kid, but she ain't mine. She ain't mine. And I knew that there was a high possibility that she wasn't. You know what I mean? Just dealing with just knowing the mother. Let's just put it that way. I just knew that it's a high possibility she wasn't mine, and I didn't really even see any resemblance. But my girlfriend at the time, she said, "No, that's your daughter." She and I was seeing her at the time, so she was like, "No, she looks just like you." And we were fresh in our relationship too. And I would have said, that would have been a good time for her to run, but she didn't. She stuck in there with me, which was real important to me. But she said, "No, she looked just like you." I said, "No, I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't know what you're talking about." Long story short, she did end up being my daughter, and probably my child that is probably the most like me in certain types of ways and aspects. So it's often harder to gauge. I could see how it's hard for him to gauge because the kid is mixed, but it's just like, look, there's a lot of things wrong with this. I'm not sure why she didn't try to connect with him sooner. She should have tried to contact him sooner, because if this kid truly is 18 years old, he can't even really be a father anymore. He can't be a father. He could be a biological lineage. And what I mean by that is it's too late to instill values in him. It's too late to instill behavioral patterns in him. Some, for the lack of a better term, it's too late to train him into being the man with morals and scruples that you would expect him to be, because he's 18 now. He don't really have to listen to his father too much, and all it's going to end up being is a bit of a liability. And look, this is from a male perspective. All this is going to end up being a liability for the father. It is criminal. This is why blood tests should be mandatory. Okay. It don't even matter if the kid is not his. If it's somebody else's. The other father missed out on 18 years. That is criminal. That is criminal. It's a boy too. And he got raised by a white father. And he's a black boy. He's not going to be he's just not going to have his father's culture, traditions, and things like that. And it is criminal for a man to miss out on the entire youth of their kids. And if that is the case, there should be, I don't even know why they're in court. There should be no request for any child support, back child support, because now you're asking me to pay for a grown man now, and I missed out on this whole entire childhood. Let's see how it goes.
About you, what did you say about that, Mrs. Gerald?
My child is extremely good looking, and he could probably take over his job as a sportscaster, but he just doesn't want the competition.
There ain't no competition, really. Just stop. Really, you're embarrassing yourself. Just stop.
How would you know? You haven't
Just
even
stop.
spent any time with him. You're a deadbeat dad, he just wants to
Once
scapegoat.
again, I'm not a deadbeat dad. I'm taking care of my child.
Yeah,
my child is well
he
taken care
just
of.
feels guilty because, he wasn't there, and he.
Women love to throw out that deadbeat dad. You're a deadbeat dad. He didn't even know the kid existed. He didn't even know the kid. How can he be a deadbeat dad if he didn't know the kid existed? You're a deadbeat. Shaming tactics. He handled it pretty well, but it's like, that's so lame. You kept him away from me for 18 years. You put a half effort into trying to contact me because you had Brad with you. So as long as you had Brad, you didn't put in no effort to find me because you figure your son had a father. But now that Brad left your ass, now all of a sudden I get to be a deadbeat because you didn't put in effort to look for me. Absolutely ridiculous. And women with them shaming tactics, it just shows that you are not only reaching but pretty lame. Okay. Now, a lot of women will never understand that because they're the ones who have the babies. So they can never be in a position where they could be called they could be called a deadbeat mom, but they always know there's a child that they gave birth to out there. Men don't know that. We don't have that luxury, especially because the way the court systems are. But I'm going to tell you my rule on how things should go in the future. Let's go back in.
He wasn't in the child's life, and he's just saying anything he can to prove it's not his child, so we will see.
Okay, so Ms. Gerald, what do friends and family members say about this situation? Is any...
Well, they just all love my son. they don't focus on, well, like, where's the dad or who's the dad, you know? We've been very happy together, but there's that question mark that always comes up about who the dad is. In my mind and my son's mind. And he's old enough now to know the truth.
Well, they both lost their mind because I am not his dad. I just don't know how many different ways I can say it. I'm sorry.
You just wait until you see the result.
So I need to ask you, I know you didn't explain that you have a wife and how does your wife and your family, I know you had to break this news before coming to court. How do they feel about this situation?
You know what? My wife may have just that little inkling of doubt that she's just hope that this child isn't mine, but I'm telling her 100% it's not mine. As far as my family goes, they just think this is another lady trying to, get on the gravy train of my success. She'll come out the woodworks, and now all of a sudden I got an instant child, like some instant grits, and I'm telling you, the child is not mine.
Yeah, let's not wreck the perfect family life of Donovan here and his perfect family, I'm just one of the many women coming after him, but he's not the same person as he was 18 years ago, let me tell you.
Honestly, Your Honor, my family members, like my mom especially and my sister, they want to put hands on her, trying to come up, trying to say that, this child, that I'm his father and stuff like that. And honestly, like she said, she says, I think I'm all that. Listen, I just age like wine, okay? It's nothing, just pure deliciousness over here, Your Honor.
Hey, as far as somebody putting hands on me and my son, they got my address. They know where we live, so they're welcome to come over. Let's all have a party of who's the dad.
I am so glad
They've
I did not
got
put
my address.
Your Honor, I am so glad I did not put a ring on this woman's finger. I'm telling you,
So how has your life been affected by this uncertainty of paternity?
I wouldn't say it's affected greatly, but every now and then you can't help but wonder, like, where is he? Why is he avoiding this situation? Why can't we just settle this and find out for sure? Because I know the truth. Just because he doesn't know the truth or want to acknowledge it, I'm here today to know the truth. It's affecting my son because when we go to a football game or anything, or I go to his games, he would have liked to have his real dad here. And as he speaks, he's so successful in the sports world, they would have been great together. And I can't help but think that when I go to the football games with my son, like, the real dad could have been so supportive and just stood by him all these years, and my son is getting cheated out of all that. It's not just about me, and you can say, I'm just one of all your many groupies because you're such aged wine and that, but, the truth is, I am here for my son. It's affected him. He's been cheated out of a dad.
So is there anybody that could potentially be the father?
Absolutely not.
And so you haven't contacted anybody. There's no other way. You're 100% sure that this Mr. Donovan is the father.
I'm 100%, Your Honor. I'm 100% sure, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Donovan. Is it any doubts in your mind? Do you think somebody else could be the father?
Your Honor, I'm going to be honest. Someone has to be the father. It's just not me. Listen, I'm sure I wasn't the only football star she had dealings with after I left, after I was out of the picture. Life, it is what it is, but there's no way that this child is mine. I'm sorry. And I agree with her. He should know who his father is. It just isn't me.
Okay. So you might want to hit some of them other football stars up and contact them, huh? Is that what you're saying and telling me?
Hey, pretty much.
Feel free. It's a free country.
All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get down to these results because I do have them in front of me, and they read as follows. So, in the case of 18-year-old Charlie, Mr. Donovan, you are the father.
I told you, you make me out to look like I slept with the whole football team, but I know what happened that night, and I know it was you. And you just don't want me to affect your perfect family life, and you want me and my son to just go away. And that's not going to happen now, is it?
So, what do you got to say for yourself, Mr. Donovan?
Oh, Your Honor, you the judge. You say you have the results. Then I got to go what the court says. If this is my child, so
No,
I'm hey, I'm gonna do my part. I'm gonna step up to the plate. I'm gonna get involved, and of course, I got to go back and have a discussion with my wife and child. But
So you plan to gain a relationship with this child?
oh, absolutely. If it's my flesh and blood, then I'm gonna do the right thing. Yes, absolutely.
Welcome to the family.
Thank you.
So now, with that being said, now that you have the results that you wanted, and we didn't came down to the conclusion that he is the father, what do you plan to do now moving forward?
Well, I want him to be involved in my son's life. I would like them to interject and talk about sports and everything, and it was well worth all that money I spent on the private investigators and being a stalker. So, I would like to say that to every woman out there, if you know who the dad is, go after him and find out the truth.
Okay, with that being said, Mr. Donovan, I wish you guys nothing but the best. I hope that you do gain a relationship with this boy, because as you know, he is yours and he's following in your footsteps. So maybe that's why he's going to be successful in football. I want y'all to have a good day, and court is adjourned.
Whenever I'm reading, I like to use my reading glass. Get a picture.
All right, and that's that. Like I said, the little boy looked just like him. I can't say that I'm too surprised, but he was so sure I'm not the father. It just ain't me. But it's so unfair. It's so unfair to the boy. It's so unfair to the father. I'm going to probably say this in every episode of this series, and that is mandatory testing. Okay? Mandatory testing. I know that they're trying to, we're in the political space right now, and they're trying to get rid of terminations, okay, of pregnancies, but they should also try to, and look, I'm not on that. I put it this way, that's not what I'm talking about, but I say that to say that they should implement mandatory testing so that people know who both their parents are, because there's a saying out there, mother's baby, daddy's maybe, and it shouldn't be no maybe about it. Okay, it should be a daddy's baby. Okay, they should know too. Mommy's baby, daddy's baby. So that's what we need to get to. I can't say that I was super surprised at all. Like I said, he looks just like him. But let me know what y'all think in the comments of this. 18 years old son, and he just now finding out. I'm glad the judge didn't go into no kind of, oh, well, let's set up child support and all this other stuff, or back pay and all this other stuff, because it's like, look, I missed out on his whole life. What are you talking about? Like, for real. Oh, well, you should pay back. No. The guy that she was with and probably married to or whatever. And that's just, I know that's going to be a little controversial, but she shouldn't have waited. She should have found out who the father is, or she should have got a paternity test out the gate so she could know. But a part of me feels like maybe she has some family members who I don't know. She said her family was pretty cool, so I don't know. But all I know is that, we need mandatory testing so that people know who their father is. I was a part of this situation. I was a part of this situation too. So, and it upset me to the nth degree, because I knew how much time I wasted. Well, I didn't waste the time, but I knew how much time I lost, and there was no really getting that time back. Maybe him and his son can work it out now that his son is an adult, but mama just waited way too late. She should have done that earlier, but she didn't do it earlier because of her own selfish reasons, and that's, well, I got him a daddy. I got him a pseudo daddy, this white guy, and we're just going to live our life like this. And that was an injustice to the son. Anyway, let me know what y'all think in the comments. Really would like to know. Hit the like, share, and subscribe. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.
To know who your son's real father is, so they can have a relationship. He's the one that's losing out.
Your Honor, I'm just going to put it out there. She just hasn't gotten over all this chocolate deliciousness. That's why we in here. So now she can't find the next man, and now she just wants to just handcuff me down, and now she wants me to be a part of a child's life that isn't mine. I'm sorry, I'm just not buying it.